Ukraine is nowhere near winning the war or reclaiming territories occupied by Russia, but vultures have already started circling in. As if that wasn't enough, far-right leaders of a NATO country want a piece of Ukrainian land. I'm talking about Hungary. Hungary's Our Homeland Party leader, Laszlo Toroczkai, has declared claims to Ukraine's Zakarpattia Oblast, also known as Transcarpathia region. Toroczkai has said that his party would lay claim to this western region of Ukraine if the country loses the war with Russia. In a video posted on his party's website, he called for autonomy of ethnic Hungarians in western Ukraine. He said, and I'm quoting now, "If this war ends up with Ukraine losing its statehood, because this is also on the cards, then as the only Hungarian party taking this position, let me signal that we lay claim to Transcarpathia." The statement drew applause from the crowd. He made the remarks at a conference where his party hosted far-right leaders from Germany and the Netherlands, among others. His party had 6 lawmakers in the 199-strong Hungarian parliament. Transcarpathia in Ukraine is home to about 150,000 ethnic Hungarians. This region borders Slovakia and Hungary to the west and Romania to the south. The issue of minority rights here has created friction between Hungary and Ukraine, particularly over Ukraine's linguistic policies. You see, the language law has for long been a source of strife. It requires at least 70% of education above the 5th grade to be conducted in Ukrainian. And in response to the criticism, Ukraine says it does not intend to limit the linguistic rights of its minorities. Kiev says it simply wants to ensure that all Ukrainian citizens have sufficient capability to speak the national language, which is Ukrainian. In Hungary, meanwhile, the far right have called for increased autonomy for the ethnic Hungarians in Ukraine. There has been no comment on the latest statement from Hungary, but the issue has once again highlighted the differences between NATO's Hungary and Ukraine. In December, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán expressed support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, but Budapest has often clashed with Kiev over what it says are curbs on the rights of the ethnic Hungarians living in Ukraine. And these curbs are reportedly over their use of their native tongue. Hungary, for that matter, is also part of the European Union, but often clash with both EU and the NATO over Ukraine's bid to join the bloc and over wartime aid for Kiev. Last month, all European Union states except Hungary agreed to start EU accession talks with Ukraine, but the EU leaders bypassed the Hungarian Prime Minister's opposition. How exactly? By getting him to leave the room when the decision was made. Still, EU leaders could not overcome his resistance to revamping the EU budget. It would have helped channel 50 billion euros to Kiev. And now the EU has warned Budapest. Brussels had threatened to hit Hungary's economy if Prime Minister Orbán vetoes Ukraine aid. Now, this is significant. The EU has threatened its own member state with dire consequences if any attempt is made to block fresh aid for Ukraine. It is part of a confidential plan drawn up by Brussels that marks a big escalation in the battle between the EU and its most pro-Russian member state, Hungary. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.